9 something in the morning, almost 10 o'clock. We got Flozell here. What's up, man?
Hey, what's the dilly? We got some good stuff to talk about today. And first things first, like getting straight to the point, we're going to talk about the Bears.
The Bears.
The
Hey, I do have a question.
Bears.
So I've noticed that the defense has gotten better since the head coach, who's a defensive head coach, has been calling the plays for the Bears.
Well,
I mean,
once the offense moves the ball and scores simply and keeps the defense off the field, they're going to play and perform better. That's what it's all about. You can have the 1985 Chicago Bears out there, and if the offense is not scoring, the defense is going to suck. That's just the name of the game. That's simple football. So now that the offense is scoring and those guys can take a break here and there, they're going to perform better. Bears have always had a pretty decent defense over the last couple of years, but people look past it because the offense wasn't doing anything. Three and out, 7, 8 times a game. The defense is on the field for 3 and 3/4. So what do you expect them to do?
they got 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a fumble, I think, this week. That was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, I saw that. And how you say that backup quarterback's name? Baggett, Bajent,
Bajent? Yes.
Bajent, Division II undrafted college quarterback. What school did he go to?
I don't know. Something.
Shepherd.
Yeah,
Wait,
Shepherd.
wait.
Yeah.
Shepherd.
Nothing. Yeah.
Shepherd in West Virginia. He's from West Virginia. Shepherd, West Virginia, Division II. You might as well say, no disrespect to Shepherd, but you might as well say that's probably a community college type school in West Virginia.
Yep.
So you get a guy that made the team, probably fought his way all the way through to
Yep.
get a chance to get on the spot, and he made it happen once he got in. So he made a name of himself.
But I don't want to, they're already, people are already saying, well, what about, do we keep Badgett going and leave Justin Fields? Y'all need to, y'all chill the fuck out.
Yeah, they need
Y'all
to
need to
chill.
chill
They
out.
need to chill. I mean, he's a backup right now. He's not ready. He's not ready. That Purdy stuff, what he pulled last year, that's one in every 25 years, and this guy is not ready. He just wasn't on film, so he did a good job, ball
Yep.
control, and the reason he did a good job is because of who? Foreman. They
Oh my
kept the
God, that
ball
dude.
on the ground, and they
Oh
used
my
him when
God.
they needed to, and that's how they
Yeah.
became successful. So, I mean, look at Fields. They just want him to be a Joe Montana sitting back there passing a doggone ball. That's not him.
That is
That's not
Badgett,
him.
though.
That's
That is
not him.
Badgett. Yeah.
So they get a
Yeah.
ground game going just like they did and establish control of the clock, get some first downs, have them pass when it's needed, and this is what's going to happen. And they need to do the same thing with Justin Fields. And I always wonder, did you hear anything about Foreman? I mean, he's always been a valuable back. Why weren't they playing him at the beginning of the year?
This is 17 in the NFL.
This is 17?
It's
Wow.
17.
Well, he made his way count
Yeah.
on Sunday, so he needs to continue that because the other running backs with the Herbe, they won't be around for a while, next couple of weeks, so he's got to carry a lot of load on his shoulders. So we see how that comes out.
Yeah. So they were talking about that. This is his seventh team. I think he got drafted by Carolina, I want to say. Wow. There's not much on him. But yeah, my understanding was he was drafted. This is his seventh team. He's from Texas City, Texas. Oh, no,
Texas
my
City,
bad.
Texas.
He was drafted by the Houston Texans in 2017, and then he went to the Colts. He was the running back behind Derrick Henry in Tennessee when he went down. Falcons, back to Tennessee, Carolina Panthers, came to Chicago this year, and I mean, I got to be honest. There for a minute, I was like, "Is that is Derrick Henry dressed up as a Chicago Bear today?" Because he was just Of course, stop jumping over people, man. Stop it. Because what happened? You jumped over somebody and you got hit, and you ended up having to go to the sideline. Stop jumping over people.
Who did that?
He Foreman, he was like jumping over people nonstop, and then
Well,
he got whacked.
he trying to make his valuability to the team. So I mean, he's been in the
But
league
then
long
he,
enough and played plenty of games to know not to do that. But you with the Bears, you're having a losing season now. Put it
you're
all in right now.
17. You're
You might as
17. You're
well
like, man,
17, and it's pretty much wrapping up your career. But he has to show them that he still got it. I mean, he's not even old. He's only 27 years old, and he still has a lot of legs left because he hasn't been a starter. So he's out there doing his thing. Let him do it. Let him continue to
yeah.
do it.
So looking at other scores, we had the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Saints. Wasn't really surprised on that one. The Falcons Buccaneers was just a nonstop defense game. I mean, 16-13, Falcons won it with a field goal. Obviously, I was talking crap to Vaughn because that's what I'm going to do, but I never really thought the Bears were going to beat the Raiders. I mean, don't get
I
me
know they're
wrong, I'm
going to beat the
happy.
Raiders.
Makes me happy, but I really didn't think it was going to happen.
I figured it was going to happen. I knew the Bears were going to
Yeah.
beat the Raiders because the Raiders is not a good team. The Raiders is not a good team because the head coach in charge is not a good head coach. He hasn't been
Yeah.
a good coach. He hasn't been a good head coach anywhere he's been. So
Yeah.
it's going to show up. He hasn't done anything to prove it. He might have been a good offensive coordinator, but who's going to be offensive coordinator with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady? Of course,
Yeah.
you're going to be a
All
great
right.
offensive coordinator. But when he got taken away from his environment, look what happened. He hasn't been good. And then he drafted Tim Tebow when he was in Denver. Come on, it's
Yeah.
not a good decision. Not a good decision. He's not making a good decision. I see him having one more season after this if he doesn't get fired this year because the Raiders brass don't give a damn. They'll fire anybody in a minute. But
Yeah.
if they don't do it this year, he has one more year and he's done. So Vaughn, if you're watching this, your team sucks and will continue to suck. So
Oh,
meanwhile, while
damn.
our Bears are climbing the ladder, getting better and better and better, baby.
They
Watch.
are. And we have if Carolina keeps going the way they're going, we're going to have because we have their number one, we have their first round pick. So, yeah. So the Browns barely made it by the Colts 39-38. Deshaun Watson was out of the game again.
Yeah, I saw that they pulled him out. He fell on that injured shoulder of his, and his coach took him out as a precautionary method. But I mean, that's throwing shoulder. You can't mess that up, and it's probably a smart move by the head coach. But
Mm,
the media was all on Watson. I mean, I don't. He's having a subpar year, but when you think of the health of him, he was told him like I'm hurt, and then he was saying the trainers were going on the TV telling everybody like, oh, he's good to go, he's good to go for the last 2 weeks, and he was telling I'm hurt. So I guess he kind
yeah.
of fell into that mold and listening to them and went out there playing half ass because he's hurt, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Never fall into the temptation of the media, and that's the fault of most players until they get the point. So now he's going
Yeah.
to barely be out this game and next game or something because the shoulder. I mean, you throwing a ball 20, 25, 30 times a game. That's just something you can't play with, especially as a quarterback. I mean, running back, offensive lineman, linebacker, we can play with hurt shoulders, but not the quarterback. Not They can't even play with a hurt shoulder on a non-throwing arm. So if you because it messes with the range of motion. So
Yeah.
if it's a throwing arm, see what they did to the guy Richardson from the Colts. He's getting surgery all on his. So
Yeah.
that's a process.
So New York over the Commanders. I really don't think that's much of a surprise. That was kind of a coin toss game. I did not expect the Ravens to pummel the Lions.
We talked about Detroit last week, and I gave the utmost praise
Yep.
with Dan Campbell over and over and over again. And I will continue to give Dan Campbell the praise, such as like I did last week. But hey, you can't win them all. Can't win them all. But you can't be losing like that either.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, that's probably went up in there with their chest all big, just like the Cowboys did a couple of weeks ago in San Francisco. A lot of teams do it. They're like, oh, this is the Ravens. They're having an up and down season, and we're Detroit Lions. We're on the up and up. We're gonna go up in there and kick their butts. And then they went up in there and got slapped twice.
Woo-woo. Yeah, they got pummeled.
Yeah, they got
Yeah, but it's
punched
the
in the
same
gut.
thing. It's the same thing, Detroit don't get too down. You got some teams you're like, okay, don't get too excited. You got to win, and then you got other teams. It's like, don't get too down. This isn't the end of the year. It was the Baltimore Ravens. It was Deshaun Watson. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's
Um,
definitely a wake up call, and it'll be definitely interesting to see how they're gonna react to what had happened to him last week. Because getting gut punched like that, like it's like a dude coming in the street, look at you straight in your eye and said, "I'm gonna punch you in the gut," and then he punches you in the gut. So
and you're like, why'd you do that? I
why'd you
told you
do
it was
that?
coming.
So that's what happened to the Detroit Lions. So we'll be standing by seeing how they're going to respond to that gut punch from the Baltimore Ravens. Because Ravens are looking like a good team like they did last year before uh, Jackson got hurt. So, it's kind of
Yeah.
surprising to consider how they've been playing up and down. But they're going to be a team to be a force with, especially when they're playing against the Bills.
Well, so the Bills got beat by the Patriots. How in the world do you get beat by the? I mean, if we look at the Bills right now, the Bills are 4-3. The Patriots are two. Well, so they were 4-2, and the Patriots were 1-4, 1-5. How do you? I don't. I'm lost. What's going on, Buffalo?
Uh, I think they're wearing down. They had 3 good years that they had their chance. Similar to the 1991, 92, 93 Buffalo Bills. I mean, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl these last couple of years, but they were highly touted to make the Super Bowl, but they didn't make it. They had a good team. It's only going to last too long, and it probably lasted 1 year longer than it should because after a while, you're going to have the same offensive coordinator, same defensive coordinator, same coach, and then you're going to play in the same teams. They're going to start scheming in on that stuff sooner or later, which is what's happening right now. And Allen seems like he's playing a little reckless ball. He's having too many turnovers. He's running too much. To me, it seems like he's looking at Lamar Jackson's film and like, I want to run and do all this fancy stuff and jump over piles. Dude, you're a quarterback. You
Yeah.
are a quarterback. Do a little play action, do a little run. I mean, if you get, uh, uh, scramble or something like that to get through, but just don't purposely run down the field just because you think you can, because those guys are out there made to hit and they want to hurt you. They want
When
to
you
hurt you.
you look
So,
most of the time when Mahomes runs, he's running to the sideline. He
oh
catches
yeah,
that angle. You got Josh Allen sitting here trying to run through people. Man, quit trying to run through people. Get out to the edge.
yeah, he can't do that. Can't do that. I mean, I know he's 6'6", 240, but those guys are just made to hit. They hitting running backs, 230-pound running backs, 15 times a game. He's not an exception. So, like I said, they out there, they're going to try to hurt you. And you get out of the game, they're going to get the second string in. So, they have a better chance of winning. So, it's about, hey, it's a dog eat dog world. You get out, we will win. So, they need to go back to the fundamentals to me because they never really had a running game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Singletary was back there the other day. Or last 2 seasons, they couldn't make anything run. This guy, Cook, had a pretty good game for the first time this year. So they need to see what can do with the running game so they can capitalize on that and probably keep the ball out of his hands so he can be able to be more effective. You're just sitting back there and shotgun passing all the time. It's just not going to work. and eventually it's going to start failing, which is starting to happen to him this year.
Yeah. So Seattle beat the Cardinals. I wasn't really surprised about that one. Steelers over the Rams, I was a little surprised. I mean, I was a little surprised the Steelers pulled it out. I mean, obviously the Rams aren't that great anyway, this year at least. Um,
But the
yeah.
Rams are still the Rams, and they can
Yep.
possibly win with Stafford because Stafford is
Oh yeah.
a stat machine like Cousins from Minnesota. So no, if
Yeah.
he has a good game and he starts throwing it out there, he's going to win some games. But Pittsburgh, that's just a grind them out team, man. Mike Tomlin just always had a grind them out team. Even when I was there for a year, just a grind them out team. We're gonna beat you. We're gonna beat on 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 you. And once we find that weakness that we can get on, that's when we're gonna take advantage of it and get the lead on you and sustain that lead as long as we can until we win the game. And which is what the type of ball the Steelers has been having for the last 20, probably since existence, let alone 20, 30 years. So they're going to grind it out with you from all the way from the beginning to end, whether they're winning or losing. So that's the type of brand ball that Steelers have. And that's why
Yep.
they end up coming up with the win over, I was going to say St. Louis, against the LA Rams.
Yep. Kansas City over the Chargers. Not hugely surprised. Um,
Man,
you know,
that Mahomes, man, he's
yeah,
the best quarterback in the league right now. And for him to have so much great vision and knowledge of the game at such a young age. It's amazing. It's
yeah,
amazing. I haven't seen anything like it. I mean, this guy was doing that since he started. But you want to know what the key is? And I keep telling people this. One of the biggest mistakes that the Chicago Bears did was put Fields in early. You got to remember some of the greatest quarterbacks were backups. Like
yeah.
Love was backup to Aaron Rodgers. Steve Young was back up to Joe Montana.
Well, Aaron Rodgers was the backup for Brett
Brett
Favre.
Favre. And Peyton Manning didn't play his first year. So those guys are sitting on the bench. They were sitting back there learning. So Mahomes, was it 2 years? I don't think he played 2 years because what's that guy name? He was with San
Smith.
Francisco. Yeah,
Smith.
Alex Smith was a great quarterback. So he was sitting behind him for 2 seasons before they got rid of Alex Smith and he went to Washington Redskins and Mahomes came. So that's one of the reasons where he's really knowledgeable, but he's very smart too. And I love watching that dude play. I mean, he won the Super Bowl with no receivers. Who does
Yeah,
that?
and the argument's always been, you know, quarterbacks sitting behind. I mean, you see, Jalen Hurts or not Jalen Hurts. You see, these rookie Richardson. You just stick him out there this first year. Why do that? Put him behind Minshew. I know Minshew's not your franchise quarterback, but at least he can learn. He can grow more in the NFL than anything else. I like Nick Foles in Chicago. Really kind of wish they would have held on to him and allowed, Fields just to sit behind him. Screw the fans. I get that the fans are going to scream up and down what they want, but you know what? Screw y'all because allow them to develop and kind of move forward. But like with a like-minded quarterback, I think Trey Lance in Dallas is going to be a phenomenal quarterback sitting behind Dak.
Um, yeah, he should be a phenomenal quarterback, and the Dallas Cowboys say the draft pick when they got him because he really didn't sit behind anybody. They were trying to start him
Right.
since day one. He got
Yep.
hurt
Yep.
early, and then they tried to put him in. He got hurt again. They tried to put him in. He got hurt again. So right now he's getting a very, very, very valuable input. So
And
that's
I
one of the
think
people saying that was a busted move, a busted trade. That was a future draft pick that the Dallas Cowboys had made getting Trey Lance. So I
and
mean,
letting him sit behind Dak, a like-minded quarterback like himself, I think Trey Lance. I think the Cowboys have. If even I would tell them to keep Dak at least a couple more years. Just let Trey Lance sit there. I mean, wow.
Well,
I think it'd be phenomenal.
I see the Dallas Cowboys keeping Dak one more year,
Yeah,
this year and next year, no matter what, because they're going to have to re-up him. They're going to have to re-sign him or do
right.
something after next year. I know he got some upfront money this year or something, but it wasn't like a new contract. That was just a structure. So next
Yeah,
year they're going to have to give him an extension, or they're going to have to cut him or let him go. So and then there
yeah.
will be Lance sitting right there back there waiting. So
Yep.
that's going to be another interesting story once the end of next year. Even though this year is only halfway over, so
And they.
that'll be another drama story for the Dallas Morning News.
Yeah. So Packers, obviously they started their season winning against the Bears. Everybody was hyped up by Jordan Love, and now they just been getting whooped.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's
By the
learning.
Broncos. By the
Yeah,
Broncos.
yeah, their team is under so much disarray. I know Sean Payton is probably pulling his hair out, not knowing what to do because he got handed a bad team. He signed up for it, but with a bad team. And I don't think Wilson is the quarterback that he wants. Since they signed him to that deal, he's stuck with them. So look for a lot of restructuring, a lot of guys getting out of there, and he's going to start from the ground up. And we'll see what he does with Wilson. I don't know what type of contract he has or anything, but we're definitely going to probably not see Wilson until for next season for the Denver Broncos. So that's going to be a pretty interesting story. So, as a matter of fact, since we're right there, if Wilson gets cut, where would he go?
I don't want him in Chicago. I mean, I think Russell Wilson's a great quarterback, but
You think his time is up? Because
uh,
this is what his 12th, 13th year in the league. His time is probably up.
yeah.
But maybe you can probably see him somewhere in Atlanta.
Oh, I could see him in Atlanta.
You see him in
I
Atlanta.
could
You
see
can
him.
see him in New Orleans, probably taking over for
Ooh,
what's
that's
that guy name
good.
out there?
Carr.
Carr. And he
Yeah,
could go to Tampa Bay and take over for Mayfield. But
they
Mayfield is
won't.
he's doing a
Yeah,
pretty good job this year. He's doing a
they
pretty good
won't do
job
it.
this year. So
I wouldn't mind seeing. Again, it's about developing a quarterback. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Carolina. I wouldn't mind seeing him in at the Houston Texans. I wouldn't
no,
mind
he's
seeing
not
him
going
behind
down
him.
there. They got first round draft pick playing. He's
And they
not
need to
gonna
stop. They
he's
need to
not
stop playing these
nah,
first round draft
nah, he's
picks.
not going down there because he's not gonna sit I bet you he'll retire before he sits second string.
But if you were the head coach of one of those teams and you had a pick, like Houston had, like Carolina had, you wouldn't say, "Hey man, look, I need you to develop as a quarterback. I need you to sit on the bench. We're going to bring Russell Wilson in for you to learn behind." You wouldn't do that?
It's too late now because they're starting
You've
already.
already started. Okay.
So if this was at the beginning of the season or Russell Wilson was already there, so, like, say if the Denver Broncos had drafted a first round quarterback this year, hey, we're gonna sit you down for a couple of years and learn from this guy. I would do that, but
They
for
keep
him to
screwing around,
leave,
that's what's going to happen at Denver. They're going to get a first round pick. They're going
yeah,
to get
probably, but for him to leave to go to the Texans or Carolina when those guys are already playing, no, he won't. He won't do
yeah.
that.
Eagles over the Dolphins, 31-17. Really thought that one was going to be closer. The one I'm excited about is the Vikings over the 49ers. I am a true Kirk Cousins. I've taken him in my fantasy draft plenty of times. I mean, and 22-17, Vikings over the 49ers. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Again, you picked a good guy in your fantasy league because he's a stat machine. He
Yeah.
lose. I'm not saying he lost the game or he loses the game. It's not all on him. But if he does lose, he's still having 3 touchdowns, 370 yards passing, and maybe one interceptions, which can create a nice, good numbers for your fantasy team. So, Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings, I don't think they're done yet. I still think they're going to be playoff caliber, playoff ready. So, it's going to be interesting to see them. I see that their defense is giving up a lot of big plays and everything to get them back behind early. So, Vikings are not that type of team that's going to be a come from behind team. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with Cousins next year because he's up on his contract, I believe. So that's going to be another thing. Would he go to the Bears?
Ooh, I would take him. I would take him easily. Yes, yes, please. No, Kirk Cousins, come on, man, come to the Bears.
Yeah,
Um,
but
DJ
that's
Moore,
going to be hard because
Mooney.
they still have Justin Fields, but then he's not performing. So just like any other quarterback, first round quarterback, high pick that doesn't perform, they just going to throw him on the bench. You're going to see what you do, such as the case of Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson. But something that's popped in my mind that's been reading in the headlines lately about how you say that Eberflu
Eberflus, yeah,
about
yep.
him getting fired and who's going to be his possible replacement. You haven't
Mm,
seen it?
no,
Harbaugh.
you're talking about Michigan, Harbaugh. He's, but
Such a
he's already
su-
he was
such a
already the head coach.
the
He was
head
already the
coach
head coach.
head coach of the Bears.
What he was the head coach of the Bears.
No, he wasn't. He was head coach of 49ers.
Oh, okay. I know he was a quarterback for the Bears for a minute.
He was the quarterback for the Bears back in the day, but they're looking at him as floating all in the news about him going to the Bears, especially with the type of accusations they've been having for the last 5 or 6 years. He can't take any more of that. I'm not saying he can't take any more of that. I mean, it's his responsibility as a head coach to know who's in the staff and what players right there and continue to get in trouble. So this is about his time for him to jump ship. And they talking about him going to the Bears. I don't know if I can stand looking at his face there for the next
After all the
3 to 4
Michigan years.
years, but I don't know what I can say about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously he's coming from a college, um, a winning college, but I don't know. It'd be a good one. It'd be a good one. But again, I sit here and I watch Eberflus do very well calling the calls for the defense, and I'm like, can we keep Eberflus and bring in an actual head coach, or how does that work?
Well, Eberflus is not going to
I know.
take the back seat. He's like, fire me. I'll find another job somewhere. I'm not going to be head coach and get demoted to a defense coordinator for you to have another guy. Fire me. And I wouldn't blame him. Like, fire me. I'm not going to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So if Harbaugh comes in, Eberflus is going to get fired and he's going to go somewhere else.
So I do want to. I watched a little bit of the Kansas City Chargers game and sat there and listened to Romo call that game. The craziest thing in the world, and this is kind of an interesting question. Do you think that these teams that have Romo calling plays have somebody who listens to the broadcast to hear what Tony Romo says?
Do you mean that if the teams, like the defensive team, listening to Tony Romo call his
But do you think,
plays?
right? Do you think that somebody for Kansas City and the LA Chargers have somebody who watches the broadcast? Because you sit there and I was watching it and you'd hear him say, "Oh, they really should do this. They should do this. This should be, you see what they're doing here. What they're doing is really not working. They really should do blank." And then next thing you know, it's like, "Oh, well, here they go."
No, I don't. I don't think they're doing that. I don't think that.
I would. I
Like
would,
like
as a coach, I would be like, "Hey, I need somebody to watch Tony and listen to what he says and make recommendations based off what he says."
well, they already have the film to see what they need to do anyway. So I mean, that'll be a waste of time listening to Tony call plays. I mean, he's broken every Cowboys record as a quarterback from all two or three Hall of Famers. The quarterbacks have been for the Cowboys. He's broken all those records. Very smart football guy, extremely intelligent. Of course, he's going to study that stuff because Tony Romo is studying the film before he goes to commentate. He's just not on there looking on there and just calling a play. He saw the play a game or two before and he remembers it, so he's going to
Yeah.
call it. I mean, that's what you do. He's a quarterback studying, so he's studying. All those commentators study before the game. They're not just flying off, going on the fly. We're going on the fly.
Yeah.
They're not going on the fly. They're studying that stuff before. I mean, we're not watching the game, so we're just having a conversation.
Right.
But they studying those game tapes and everything so they know what to say along with their notes in front of them. Because when you're watching the game, the notes in front of their faces, and that's what they're talking to. But Tony is a smart quarterback. He remembers what he saw on the game tape, so that's how he's going to start repeating things and showing what he saw on the game when he's commentating. But other teams listen to Tony so they can get some type of cue in on what's
Insight,
going on.
some
No,
insight. You don't think
no,
they
no
looking for
insight. No,
insight?
no. They're just simply
I
looking at
would.
the film. You
Yeah,
know?
I would. I would sit there and listen to. I'd be like, hey, I need one person listening. Whatever Tony Romo says, I need you to repeat it back to me.
Yeah, but whatever he calls, that doesn't mean it's actually named that. Because if you call that and memorize it, you're going to have to just dissect that and put it in your terminology on your defense when you're teaching it to your players.
Yeah.
So that's why they're just going to go on and do their own thing. Because listening to him is not going to really help the defense do anything. Because though you got defense coordinators that's been in the league for whether they good or bad, they're going to be in the league, been in the league for a while. I mean, I don't think it might be, but it's
Yeah.
not that many young defensive coordinators out there. So they've been around. They know what they see. They know how to train their players, whether or not they're going to be successful or not. But they know how to train the players for whatever they see on the field and how they present it to them during the week from their opponents.
Hmm. All right, so let's do a little Michigan State.
Oh boy, let me sip on my coffee with my Batman cup before I do this one. So I'm relieving some stress with my hot coffee. I'm sipping on it right quick.
Woo. Yeah, that was yeah, that was
It's
painful.
really, 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 really extremely, extremely embarrassing. Extremely embarrassing. And I feel bad for Flozell because he's a Spartan dog all the way. I feel really, really sorry for Flozell for having to watch that crap. I shut it off with like 10 minutes left in the third quarter. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't
I
do it
mean,
anymore. It's just like I was getting gut punched, like we saying. Dude just sitting right there. I'm holding my arms up. He just, I'm like, all right, hit it harder in the gut. Like, ooh.
yeah,
Against those suckers too.
that was
Bitch again.
painful.
Oh, that
That
was
was
painful, and I feel
painful.
so bad. The number one persons that I feel bad for are the players on that team
Yeah.
because the offensive coordinator is not doing a good job.
Nope.
I don't
Well,
see
obviously
how.
by the zero.
It's not. It's not even about the zeros. They scored some points here and there. Even if they scored 20 points, it was because they really forced themselves to score 20 points a game. Well, a game or two back, but the offensive coordinator is not calling good plays. He's not putting them in good positions. Like I saw two wideouts run the same play. One was 6 yards under the other one. So down two DBs and a safety right there, you're running two guys into a 3-zone area. And then I saw a previous game where they run a screen on a short side of the field on the 5-yard line. Who does that? A little girl in kindergarten who watches her brother play
Plays flag
Madden knows
football.
not to call that. She knows not to call that. Like, what is this dude doing? And why is he a coach? Why is he an offensive coordinator? Yes, I'm pissed because this is not started to happen this year. It was going on last year too. It's time. It's time. And the defense is not doing a good job either. I mean, I don't know what type of hybrid linebacker stuff going around and whatever they doing. But the DBs are soft because they're teaching them to be soft. All that standing and bailing before the snap. I was talking to guys about that a couple of weeks ago, a month ago when it was homecoming. They bailing before the ball is being snapped. Stay on that guy.
Yeah, that's
And then the defensive line, they running
rough.
blitz and everything, and they blitzing them away from the run, which the offensive lineman like, oh man, you moving for me. I'm just gonna go there and wipe you down the line so I can make a big old hole that way and gain 20 yards. They're not sustaining blocks.
Yeah, and
It's
so
time. That was so embarrassing. So embarrassing to watch that. That. Oh, it's just I don't even have the words for it. It was totally
I was,
horrible, and it was
yeah, it
almost
was
as
bad.
horrible. What was horrible was the week before they lose against the Rutgers.
Yeah,
We talked
yeah,
about that. The Rutgers.
yeah,
Rutgers. That sounds
yeah.
like a specialty college. We specialize in no, we specialize in getting doctors out, which is nothing wrong. So you got a whole bunch
But
of
I mean,
doctors out there from New Jersey kicking Michigan State butt, and
yeah.
then
And
Michigan.
we didn't talk about it last week, but it feels a lot like Colorado and Dion getting beat by Stanford. I mean, come on, y'all got beat by Stanford.
I know, but Stanford is a football team.
Yeah,
Stanford is a football team. They having a bad year, but Stanford is a legitimate football team.
yeah.
So
And so,
Dion, they weren't supposed to win the games that they did win. So to
yeah,
me, his season is already a success. I mean, they're playing 1,000 times better than they did last year.
yeah,
I mean, this instantaneous non-patience thing that's going around in football at all levels, high school, college, and pros. When people expect you, a new coach to come in, you're going to Super Bowl, you're going to go to the high school playoffs, you're going to go to the college playoffs in the first year. It doesn't happen that way.
yeah,
It doesn't.
yeah,
It doesn't. Instantaneous satisfaction does not work that way. It's going to take a couple of years. Dion's a loudmouth, so he's gonna. That's his fault, I guess, if you want to say it. But that's what he does. But you got to
yeah,
admit, those guys are playing better than they did. His son is averaging 420 yards a game. What
yeah.
was the quarterback doing last year? I don't even
Well,
know.
obviously,
Nothing apparently.
nothing. Yeah, yeah.
So to me,
So,
hey, give him another year and see how it goes.
so Michigan State's got Minnesota and Nebraska, so that's going to be a rough few weeks.
Yeah, Minnesota's one of those teams that's like a Pittsburgh Steelers. They're gonna grind it out. They're gonna grind it
Yeah,
out, grind it out, grind it out. So hopefully, if these guys have any energy left from getting beat down by all the things that's been going on, the outside drama that's been happening at Michigan State the past 2 months or so, hopefully they can focus on football and just go out there and just play and do the best you can because you're not gonna go to a bowl game. If you're senior, your senior year sucks. So you're out there playing with pride, for pride, just to go out there and do something, and hopefully you can salvage something within yourself so you know what you can talk about. Like, hey, I didn't quit, even though you didn't win. I didn't quit. I didn't quit. I still punching people in the mouth, making blocks, catching balls, and doing what I need to do to try to help my teammates win, which I'm hoping is the attitude that most of those guys going for the rest of the year.
hey, yeah, I hope so. All right, so we're going to go through this week's picks. Thursday night is Tampa at Buffalo. I'm I think Buffalo takes out some revenge on Tampa this week.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're licking their wounds hard enough because Tampa is playing some decent ball right now, and
Yeah,
what are they? 3-3. So they're still not in control, but in the running for the NFC South. So you have the Buffalo Bills by 8.5. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it'll be an interesting game to watch. And Mayfield likes to show up for big games, and he
yeah,
definitely wants to
yeah.
outperform Allen. So look for
Oh
him to
yeah,
be on his A game this weekend, and then still think about those receivers he got. He still have Pro Bowl and Super Bowl receivers that Godwin
yep.
and Mike
Evans.
Evans. Look for those
Yep.
guys perform because Bill's secondary hasn't been playing pretty too well the last couple of games, so it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. So we've got L.A. Rams at Dallas. I think Dallas is going to take that one.
LA Rams at Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dallas are going to do that. Nah, yeah, I don't
At
think it's going to be
home.
a hard one for them. I
No.
would say probably 30, 31, 21, and they get a touchdown at the end of the game, but it's probably really 31-14. So uh, I think they're going to beat up on the Rams pretty good. So it should be a no-brainer. Should be.
Yeah. So Minnesota at Green Bay. Come on, Minnesota.
I
Come
picked Minnesota
on.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins going to air it out once again. And, those guys been beating up on them the last couple of years. Well, before then, until Minnesota became good and started beating up on them, even when Aaron Rodgers was there. So I see Kirk Cousins going up there and just beating their butts again.
Atlanta at Tennessee. I'm in a coin toss on that one.
Atlanta and Tennessee.
Yeah.
Uh, well, just look for Tennessee to run the ball with Derrick Henry. He's still healthy. So they still smash his yards per game. It's not going on too much, but he's still punching it in there, and they're gonna still do what they need to do. But Riddler, the quarterback, I'm still not hung up on him. He's too uh, hit or miss. Hit or miss. He has
Yeah.
good games and bad games and all this other stuff. And I look for Tennessee to win. Now Tennessee would be top on the charts, top of the division if they had a better quarterback. Tannehill is burned out. He's done. He's burned out. And that guy that they had drafted from Liberty, third round or something, I can't remember his name, a year or two before, he's not the answer. So they're going to have to start doing some stuff to reshuffle that team if Vrabel wants to keep his job. So I'm look for them to go for a first round draft pick quarterback next year.
Who's gonna go? Who's gonna go for it?
I think Tennessee Titans are going to go for a first round draft pick. They're going to cut Tannehill. They might let the Liberty guy go, not go, but let him start and draft a first round quarterback and let him sit behind him, just like we were talking about earlier.
Okay. That actually that might work out for them pretty well. New Orleans at Indianapolis. I think Indy. I think Indy comes out on top on that one.
No, I think New Orleans will because they have a vet quarterback in David Carr. And he can still, if he doesn't make too many stupid mistakes at once, because David Carr, if he make a mistake, he's gonna make a mistake the whole freaking game, and the game is over from when it before it even started. But if he doesn't, he's gonna have a great game. And Indianapolis doesn't have a starting quarterback. They're out for the season. And who's the quarterback there? He's a vet.
Who? Quarterback for who?
Indy.
It's Minshew.
Yeah, Minshew. I mean, he's been around the
Garner
league for
Minshew.
about 5 years or something. He's a little spunky type guy, so he's going to go out there and throw and do all the things he need to do. They should have, just like you said earlier, should have let him play and put that Richardson behind him and let him learn some stuff, and maybe
Yes.
throw Richardson in some garbage games just to get his nose wet, but just keep it going from there. Mr. David Gill says Indy.
Yep.
Nah. I think New Orleans is going to pull that one out. Where is it? Is it
It
in New
it's
Orleans?
no, it's in Indianapolis.
Oh, that might change on. Nah, still. That's going to be a tight game. 21-17. New
Uh, New
Orleans.
Eng, New England at Miami, taking Miami.
Oh yeah, New England. That's probably they probably riding high from the little win last week, but
Not gonna do them any good this week.
nah, they're not gonna do any good. They've been sucking up all that cold air in the Boston area. Now they got to go down to a little heat in Miami, and it's gonna be tough. I mean, that Tariq Hill is something else. He is something else. I was on the fence, so I won't hold. So Miami will definitely, should definitely should win that game. So I see that be a high scoring 31-14 type thing. And Bill Belichick knows that that quarterback is not Mac Jones is not his quarterback for the future, and he's probably relishing on seeing if he's going to be the head coach. So we're
Yeah.
definitely going to see what's going to happen there.
So they call this Jets at Giants, which I really never understood because it's the same damn stadium.
But
But
one's going to hold the home field advantage.
so I would take the Jets. I think the Jets are gonna win that one.
Yeah, I think the Jets going to win that one. The defense is still hitting well. They still playing pretty well, even though Wilson is still up and down. He was supposed to be the quarterback of the future. Didn't happen that way. Rodgers got hurt, and they threw him back into the lineup. He had some sucky games and like a few good ones, so he's back and forth. But I think that if they keep it on the ground, they're going to win this one out. The Jets are going to do it.
Yeah. Jacksonville at Pittsburgh. I will take Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to win because Jacksonville is a young team, and Pittsburgh is a vet team, especially a vet under Tomlin. And Tomlin's going to make sure those dogs go out there and just start punching them, punching them, punching them, and doing what they do best, and just keep the guys within reach. One thing with Pittsburgh, they never, not saying never, but they normally don't let teams get ahead of them. They hold them all around 3 points or a touchdown so they can get them a chance to come back and score a touchdown or a field goal or anything so they'll be able to maintain an edge so they can come out with the victory.
Uh, Philadelphia, Washington. I think Philly's just gonna. I know it's a divisional game for them, but I think Philly is gonna womp the hell out of Washington.
Yeah, I think they are too. Even though Hurts is having an up and down season after signing that mega deal that he has, whether it's on him or the coach or anything like that, I really wouldn't totally know. But he's playing a good enough ball to win games. So they're definitely going to go to Washington. Are they going down to Washington?
Yeah, it's at Washington.
Yeah, so they're going to go down there and smack up those Commanders and everything. So uh, I was reading somewhere where they're trying to figure out if the Washington Commanders quarterback, Washington Commanders quarterback is the quarterback of the future, but I think everybody sees that now that he's not. So that'll be interesting. And we're going to have a lot of interesting quarterback issues after this year. So we're definitely going to have that.
Well, here's a neat one, and it's Houston at Carolina, the battle of the two rookie
Oh,
quarterbacks.
oh, that's going to be a good one. I mean,
Yeah,
they're saying that the guy in Houston, because they don't throw Houston because they suck for the previous years. Teams that suck, they don't put them on television. So I really haven't seen what they can do. But apparently that this guy is playing pretty decent ball, and the one in Carolina is not. So
correct.
it's going to be a good one to see because what is it, 1 and 2 pick, first and second pick,
Uh,
something
yeah.
like that. Both of them are top fives.
Well, Carolina's number one because Chicago traded the number one overall pick, and so Houston ended up with the number two overall pick. So
Okay,
yes, Carolina has number one, Houston has number two.
okay,
So
first,
yeah, I'd like Houston to win just to be like, hey.
yeah, yeah. So that's going to be an interesting one. So we'll see how they do. I really don't know what to say about those two teams, but I think Houston is a better team than Carolina. I think Carolina is just trying to glide their way through until they start building themselves up.
Yeah. Cleveland at Seattle. It's a coin toss to me. I mean,
Uh,
those guys are.
Watson probably not going to play, so I take Seattle. I think Seattle's going to do it because uh, Gino, he's not having a Pro Bowl year like he did last year, but he's still throwing some good balls around. So, and then I think you know what?
We lost Flozell. Oh, we lost you for a second.
Metcalf. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, I think Metcalf is hurt. So if
that's
he's
San
hurt,
Francisco. Yeah,
hmm?
you talking about San Francisco?
No, Seattle, Metcalf, the wide
Oh,
receiver.
DJ
Yeah,
Metcalf. Yeah,
if he's hurt, I would say, I don't think Seattle gonna win if he's hurt. Mr. David
that's a
Gill
bit.
says Seattle
Yeah,
maybe.
that's a bit, little bit flaky there, David. I'm just gonna call you out on the flakiness. Kansas City at Denver. I mean, hands down. I
Oh,
know that's a division, but I think Kansas City's gonna
yeah, it doesn't look like.
wallop them.
I've watched Denver a couple of times this year, and they just don't seem to have any type of energy. They don't seem enthused. They don't seem to be having fun. I mean, no matter if you're a professional athlete, no matter what, you still should be at least trying to have some fun out there. I mean, a guy get a
Yeah,
sack, and he's like, "All right, you'll say, all right, next play." I'm like, "You're supposed to be jumping up and down acting like a fool, get a sack," and there's like no energy, no life. Russell Wilson doesn't have any life or anything like he's doing, but I don't know why. But yeah, Kansas City definitely gonna beat them up a little bit, and then Mahomes is probably not going to finish the game. He's probably gonna be sitting with this shoulder pads off, probably like with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So that should be a good one. I mean, we can make predictions, and you never know. Just like the
yeah.
Detroit and Baltimore game last week, it's flip side, but
Wow. Yeah.
not Kansas City and Denver, especially with the brand of ball that they're playing right now.
Baltimore to Arizona. I would take Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore. Baltimore should win, especially after playing where they did last week. Lamar Jackson is playing pretty decent ball, low numbers but decent balls, and he's going out there and make some executions like he should. And the defense has always been sturdy, so the defense is going to help him out and do the things they need to do to be able to help him win. But Arizona, it seemed like they don't have an identity either, and I think Callum Murray is supposed to be coming back in the next week or two, the crybaby, and that's so you can see it. He got 5'10" quarterback.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I don't. Cincinnati at San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going to take some vengeance out on Cincinnati.
Yeah, they probably will because Cincinnati's hurting themselves, and San Francisco is supposed to be a Super Bowl caliber team, which I still think they are at this moment. But
Yep.
hey, I mean, how many teams have ever been undefeated in the whole season? Two, just two in the whole NFL existence, AFL, whatever,
Yeah.
all that stuff since 1899. It's only two. You're gonna get some losses. It's just a matter of how many losses you get. So it's definitely gonna be the 49ers over them, and they just got to start getting their identity back and to go out there and kick some butt and win.
Chicago at the LA Chargers. I'm always going to say Chicago. Just
Chicago,
hopes
the
and
LA
dreams.
Chargers. Uh, they have been playing up and down ball themselves. I will go with the Chicago, even though I'm a Chicago fan. I'm not just picking Chicago because I'm a Chicago fan, but LA has not been playing their brand of ball, especially on defense. So if the Chicago Bears with this rookie quarterback, he's not on film, so that's an advantage for them. So the defense won't learn the schemes. You go out there and do uh, short passes, some screens, maybe throw a shot down the field, run the ball like they did. They'll be pretty successful with this win. And defense come up and get some more turnovers, and you help the offensive guys do what they need to do. It shouldn't be a problem for Chicago Bears to win this one.
So the next one is Vegas at Detroit. I think Detroit is going to take out all their frustration for what happened at the Ravens. I think they're going to take it out on Las Vegas.
Yeah. Well,
I actually feel
Bonnie,
bad for Las Vegas.
I don't feel bad for Las Vegas. I don't feel bad for the Raiders. I mean, they're pretty much like a team we discussed, just sitting down. In the next couple of weeks, they're gonna be ready to go on vacation. But yeah, they're gonna go in there and kick their butt and get some type of redemption for what had happened to them in the previous game. So yeah, the LA Raiders are not going to win this game, and I don't see any fire in them either. So the Raiders are pretty much done, and they suck. They really suck bad with that pretty boy quarterback.
Yeah, Vaughn.
Yeah, he looks like he wants to model instead of be an NFL quarterback. But don't be Flo's not hating. I'm just calling like I see it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you watching. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you next week. David, thanks, man, for participating in our stuff. Lozelle, anything to close with?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Really appreciate it. Helping us out with some predictions. I like that. Like that a
Yeah,
lot.
man. All right. Y'all have a good week.
All right, we'll see y'all next week. I'm going to have a great stories and continue talking about the things that we like to hear and things that you